on Hawaiian punch. Oh, you like all this gush? Oh no, you can't get enough. Sipping on Hawaiian punch.
Hey, my name is Adeline Warren, and you're listening to Girl Talk. I like to say that I'm the big sister of the internet. You can watch me fuck up all you want, but hey, maybe we can learn something from it. I hope you enjoy. I just killed my ex. Not the best idea. I'm about to kill this guy I once dated, 'cause he was a porn addict. I don't love him though. I hope he got over it because it was embarrassing. Oh my god, that was a really bad intro to today's podcast. But hey, how you doing? I hope that you're doing good. Today I wanted to tell kind of like a story time. I forgot that this even happened. This happened so many years ago, but I wanted to tell the story because I feel like it's so important and it's such a weird, awkward, taboo subject. But I feel like we just need to talk about it. And I feel like we could have a laugh about it because I don't know if you guys have ever experienced the same thing as me. But today I'm basically going to be talking about how I kind of had some sort of like dating situationship with a porn addict and how it was literally the best. I mean, it was literally the worst sex of my life. The worst sex of my life. And how I feel like porn makes people bad at sex. And I don't know, I feel like, you know what inspired me to do this episode is Billie Eilish. She kind of made a statement and she said, this is literally CNN. She said, Billie Eilish says watching porn from age 11 really destroyed her brain. And I don't want you guys to think like, oh, Adeline's so like, religious, I don't watch porn. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I watch porn here and there, but I really found that watching porn fucks up my brain. And it's not even just in sex. Like, it just like, it fucks up my confidence and my self-esteem issues and, you know, all these things. And I'm not trying to like bash, you know, people specifically in the porn industry or like, you know, OnlyFans girls, because we love to see it. It's just, I'm mostly talking about the porn industry and what big websites like Pornhub push on their homepage, the toxic, you know, narrative that they are constantly pushing and the gross things that just comes out of it. Like, none of this stuff has to do with, you know, OnlyFans girls because it's just like they're doing their own thing. I feel like they're separate from like the porn industry. I don't know. I kind of look at OnlyFans girls and the porn industry as like two completely separate things. So I'm mostly talking about the porn industry in like this type of video. But yeah, this was a story time about how I kind of dated. It wasn't really like dated. I wouldn't consider us like boyfriend and girlfriend. We were like, this was in my straight era in the beginning. I actually, oh my god, this was the second person that I've ever slept with. Number two, the first person that I slept with after my really long-term ex. Oh, that's so cute. But I didn't know any better. And I feel like I hope that after talking about this, maybe we can all learn something from it. This episode of Girl Talk is sponsored by Lumi. So if you want to feel clean and smell good, you should check out Lumi. Lumi's starter pack is perfect for new customers. It comes with a solid stick, deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice like a mini body wash and deodorant wipes, and free shipping. As a special offer for listeners, new customers will get $5 off a Lumi starter pack with the code GIRLTALK at lumideodorant.com. That equates to over 40% off your starter pack when you visit lumideodorant.com and use the code GIRLTALK. Anyways, this is the story time about how I basically kind of dated or had a little situationship with someone that was addicted to porn and had a porn addiction, and how it affected me as someone that they're dating, and like the things that I've noticed about how it affects specifically men. So yeah, I have like a couple notes on my phone. I'm just going to read it off because I was like, I don't know. I remembered that I had this last night and it was like 4 a.m. in the morning and I was like writing this all in my notes and I was like, this is funny as fuck. Like looking back on it in the moment, it made me so insecure because, you know, okay, we'll get into it. Let me not spoil anything. This is basically how a date with someone that has a porn addiction or go down. Like we basically, we would have a date. So a lot of the times, like he would just like come to my house and we do like a little barbecue, like blah, 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 blah. And I feel like with me, my love language is acts of service. So when someone does something like cook for me or, whatever, it like makes me horny. And I don't know. I get horny from people like doing acts of service and like doing nice things. It's just like how you turn a girl on. And then later on in the night, obviously we eat our dinner, blah, 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 blah. And then you kind of like look at each other. Oh, it's that time. Whoa, 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 whoa. And you head up to the bedroom. I'm really excited. I'm super horny. I'm ready to get some like sexy time on. And you're starting some foreplay and like you're getting aroused, like you think that he's getting aroused. You put your hand down there and you're like, oh my God, girl, why is that softer than a limp sock? Like that shit feels like a fucking like squishmallow. Like that shit is not hard at all. Like why? This is the only thing that I don't want to be soft and cuddly. Like I want that shit to be hard. And it's really out here. Like she's really out here feeling like a fucking squishmallow, teeny tiny itty bitty like little baby. Like he was always like a grower and not a shower. And I was like, girl, like this is not the thing that I want right now. Like what do I have to do? And I don't know, it just like it's not only awkward for them because obviously it's kind of embarrassing when you can't go hard, like at least for a girl, if like you're a little bit nervous, like you can't get wet, there's lube. But if the guy can't get hard, there's no alternative unless you have what's that pill? What's that pill? But you know what I'm talking about. It's like the erectile dysfunction, like horny pill to get hard. What is that shit called? I forget. I'm too lazy to be looking into this. But it's so awkward for not only them because they can't get hard. It's awkward for you because what are you gonna do? You're just sitting there like clothes off, naked, and like you can't do anything about it. And on top of that, someone with a porn addiction has absolutely no clue how to get a woman off. They have absolutely no clue because they've learned everything that they know from porn. And as you all know, porn doesn't really focus on like female pleasure. It doesn't focus on, pleasing a woman. It just basically focuses on like rough, really crazy, like sex that gets men off. So I'm just kind of like standing there like, what do we do? And like there were so many times that happened and we just didn't do anything all night. Like he'd be like, oh, maybe I just like need a shot. So we take a shot, nothing would happen. Take another shot, nothing would happen. And I'm like, girl, this is like whiskey dick, right? Like this, like the shots aren't going to be helping. And then, we've tried like weed and like, you're trying to get hard with weed and blah, blah, blah. And that wouldn't work either. And it's awkward for both of you. And you're like, this like is so fucking awkward. And like after he leaves, nothing happened. And I would FaceTime my friend and be like, girl, like what the fuck is wrong with me? Like, why isn't he getting hard? Like we didn't like nothing is happening. And like he didn't even have the courtesy of only doing me. We would just do nothing. And I would like call my friends after and be like, what the fuck is wrong with me? Like, is there something wrong with me? And girl, it is not a you problem. I think that there was maybe one time I've maybe talked to that man for like a couple months. Like I would say like maybe 2 to 3 months. There was maybe one time where we had good, successful, not awkward, like seamless, normal sex out of 2 to 3 months. We only had, because I remember there was one time that everything went seamlessly. How embarrassing is that? Like for both him and for me. Like, why did I deal with that for so long? But you know what? I have to give myself a little bit, I have to give myself some, I don't want to say credit. I have to give myself some slack because, it was like, I've only ever been in like one relationship before and I didn't really know what to do back then. And like, I genuinely like only, had sex with people that I thought I was going to date. we were naive back then. But yeah, I really was accepting not even the bare minimum. Like the bar was so below the floor. But here's the red flags that, came with it. So one thing that I noticed with someone that has a porn addiction is that they can't finish because their brains are so desensitized. So what I mean by that is that they watch porn. Let's say, I feel like the average man that has a porn addiction probably watches maybe once a day, if not maybe 3 or 4 times a week. So every other day. And watching this crazy porn that's just rough and so over the top and crazy, so unrealistic and crazy that having sex in real life, it doesn't do it for them anymore. And the only thing that can do it for them is this crazy over the top, more craziness. And it's kind of sad because, when you're in a relationship with someone that's like that, and I don't know, I feel like for me at least, I would say that I'm both a giver and a receiver. I like to make my partner feel good and I like to feel good myself. So, I would essentially finish myself because they didn't know how to finish me, because porn doesn't teach you how to finish women. And they would never get off themselves. So, I feel like when my partner doesn't get off, I kind of it's not fulfilling to me. I feel like it's kind of he can't finish, and it just it doesn't feel as fulfilling and happy and good as, when you both make each other finish and get off. Another thing that I put down is they're not used to seeing real women's bodies. So they're just used to seeing this weird fetishized extreme version of what sex is, instead of, it's kind of I would say it's kind of some sort of tolerance. It's almost when you start drinking alcohol, for example, obviously you take one shot and you're already feeling drunk and buzzed. Your first shot ever, you probably felt drunk and buzzed after one shot, and then you kind of build a tolerance for alcohol as the more and the more and the more that you drink, and it's almost you reach a level where you take one shot and it's you're not even affected by it. And it's same with everything, alcohol and weed and everything. And I feel like it's the same with porn. It's a tolerance that you build up, and it comes to a point where you watch so much extreme porn. This is a PG 13, maybe even 18 videos. So if you're not under the age, then please don't be listening. But I feel like people are watching these crazy porns with orgies and threesomes and this and that having an intimate moment with just your partner that's so special, that feels so good, it doesn't even make you horny or turned on anymore. Your brain isn't wired to do normal sex. And it's really sad because it's you're used to this virtual, crazy orgy, threesome, huge, big boobs, big butt, big lips, big this, big that, everything, that having normal sex doesn't get you off. This episode of Girl Talk is sponsored by Lumi. New customers can get $5 off Lumi starter pack with the code GIRLTALK at LumiDeodorant.com. So for those of you who don't know, Lumi is a deodorant that goes beyond just your pits. You can use Lumi over your whole body. Seriously, anywhere. You can use Lumi's whole body deodorant on your pits, under boobs, thigh folds, belly buttons, butt cracks, vulvas, and even your feet. Plus, it's clinically proven to block odor all day long and control odor for up to 72 hours. I recently got to try Lumi and I was a bit shocked by how well it works. My first time using it, I didn't go crazy. I just used it like a regular deodorant under my arms to see if it worked, and it did. It lasted all day. There was no need to reapply or anything. Plus, it also smells really good. I've been using the lavender sage scent, but they also have clean tangerine and coconut. So if you want to feel clean and smell good, you should check out Lumi. Lumi starter pack is perfect for new customers. It comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice like a mini body wash and deodorant wipes, and free shipping. As a special offer for listeners listeners, new customers will get $5 off a Lumi starter pack with the code GIRLTALK at lumideodorant.com. That equates to over 40% off your starter pack when you visit lumideodorant.com and use the code GIRLTALK. Another thing that I kind of wanted to touch on is men that have porn addictions have no idea how to finish a woman, because I feel like a lot of men, they don't talk about it with their do they even talk about it with their guy friends? I don't even know. Like, I feel like a lot of men learn how to have sex through porn. And if you guys have ever watched porn, watch one video, watch two videos, watch three videos. How many have you seen where the man is pleasuring the woman and the man is focused on getting the woman off? It's very low. It's like very low. That's why, honestly, like, I don't know. I don't know. To be honest, I don't really watch Pornhub. If anything, I'll watch Bellesa. Bellesa is like a porn site made by women for women. You know, everything is going to be consensual, because when you watch porn, you don't even know if everything is consensual, which is really scary. But everything is, you know, smoother and like less aggressive, more calm, more like, you know, sensual, like getting the woman off, like that kind of vibe. So if I am to watch porn, I'm not saying that I never watch porn. I do watch porn. But if I do, I'll go on Bellesa because I really like their videos. But I just feel like when I would watch videos on Pornhub, there's no videos of men, you know, going down on women, men using toys on women, men, you know, pleasuring women, asking what gets her off, like seeing what gets her off. I feel like so many videos that I see online are just like aggressive and like choking and like pulling the hair and smacking the ass and like blah 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 blah. Sorry, this video is so explicit. Holy shit. But I just wanted to talk about it because I feel like it's so taboo, but it's so important. Like, men are so, like, they see that, and it's crazy because they see that on Pornhub and they think that's what women want. And it's like, absolutely, like, don't get me wrong, I love a good rough session here or there, but if that's the only thing that they know how to do, that's the only thing that they think that, you know, is good, when it's completely the opposite. I feel like men that only do rough sex are low-key really bad at sex. They don't know how to please a woman. They don't know how to get her off. They don't know, you know, even how to get hard. That's another thing that I struggled with the guy that had a porn addiction, is he had no idea how to get hard. And it was so embarrassing for both him and me sometimes, because, you know, it's that time, it's sexy time, you know, it's like both of you guys are getting excited, and then it's like he can't get hard. And it's because, like, a normal woman's body is not enough. He needs to be overstimulated by these crazy videos and these like explicit, like crazy over the top videos to even feel anything. And it's really sad, because I also just wanted to say that if your partner or someone that you're talking to is struggling with a porn addiction, I want you to know, because I struggled with this, it is not a you problem. I would honestly consider a porn addiction like a real like addiction. Like, you know how people say alcoholism is a disease? I would say that porn addiction is a disease. Like, I don't know. It's really sad. Like, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm kind of laughing it off because it's like really awkward to talk about. But it really is like a disease. The porn addiction is a disease. And I feel like no one wants to admit that they have a porn addiction because that's so embarrassing. But I feel like a lot of people do, and they don't even realize it. They think that it's normal to be watching these crazy videos all the time, and then, you know, finally having intimate time with your partner and not being able to get hard. Like, that's so embarrassing, and nobody talks about that. But I went through that, and like, as the person that you're with, you know, the person who has a porn addiction, you're like, am I not hot enough? Like, am I not turning him on? Like, am I bad at sex? Like, is there anything that I can do to spice it up? But girl, let me just tell you this right now. It's not a you problem at all. It's not. I would like, it's just like any addiction. Like, you know, people are like, oh, like this person has an alcohol addiction, this person has, whatever addiction, like, is it a me problem? Girl, it's not a you problem. It's a literal disease, and they need to fight their own demons to get over it. Because I feel like some people, like, I feel like when you talk to guys about it, and I even saw this on TikTok, this girl was like, oh, I want to have a boyfriend that doesn't watch porn. And people are like, oh, good luck with that. Like, that's impossible. Men are men. Like, blah, blah, blah. Men will always be men. But I really don't think that she's asking for that much. She's not asking for a lot. Like, if you're a grown-ass man with you have a grown-ass car, a grown-ass man making grown-ass decisions, like, you should be able to have self-control. Like, that's all that it is just like self-control. And like, you're not asking for a lot for someone to just have self-control. I don't know. I feel like I'm sounding like such a prude in this video, but I'm not saying like cut off porn completely, but I think that there is like something to be said about, porn addiction is so real. Nobody talks about it. A lot of people have it, and it's affecting our intimate relationships. I also wrote this down. I Google searched this. Research finds that at least 1 in 3 and as many as 9 in 10 porn videos show acts of physical aggression or violence. That's makes my stomach like twist and turn, and like it makes me feel so weird. It makes me feel so weird that I don't understand why porn sites like push this so much, like such aggressive, rough sex. I mean, I get it because maybe people have like such a crazy tolerance that, slow sensual sex doesn't like get them off, but it's crazy. The statistics, at least 1 in 3 and as many as 9 in 10 porn videos show acts of physical aggression or violence. And I also have a little story time about me being in art school. This is a little side note story time. But back in the day, I was an art major in high school, and basically, the older kids, I think we were in grade 12, we would have to sketch naked bodies. And out of all the generations, my teacher said, out of all the generations, ours gets the most uncomfortable with seeing a naked woman's body. And I think it's because people with porn addictions, they are just not used to seeing women's bodies in like artistic forms or even just like normal day-to-day life. When they see naked women's bodies, maybe 3 to 4 times a week on porn, all that they can think about is sex. And all that they can think about is aggressive sex. And it makes them uncomfortable to see a woman's body not in that setting. And I don't know, it's just really sad. And I wish that there were more rules, or there was like more, I just wish that there was more education on porn and how it affects your mind and how it affects your day-to-day life, because those are just 2 examples of, men not being able to get hard in intimate settings because of their crazy porn addiction, and men getting uncomfortable seeing women's bodies in artistic ways, in normal day-to-day ways, and, blah, 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 blah ways, because they're so used to seeing them in only sexualized settings. And it's really sad because I feel like growing up, like, my family's not nudist, but I was just used to like my mom changing in front of me, and like, I don't know, we were just like super normal about it, like seeing a woman's body and like appreciating a woman's body. And like, that's how I want to raise my kids, is like being so, normalized by the woman's body, and like being able to like appreciate woman's body as art, because that's what it is. It's like such beautiful art. And I feel like a lot of people with not seeing women's bodies outside of porn, they just associate women's bodies with only that one thing, which is sex and aggressive sex. And yeah, I don't know. It's really sad. But how did this basically, getting back to the story, how did my situationship end with the guy? I basically like was talking to my girlfriend. I was talking to Alex, actually. And I was like, Alex, like, he can't make me come. Like, he can get hard like half the time, barely half the time. And, you know, we don't really go out on extravagant or crazy dates. He comes over to my house and like he cooks me barbecue, which is really nice, but I don't like, other than that, like he doesn't make me come in bed, and like he doesn't get hard or anything. And Alex is like, Adeline, besides the barbecuing, what are you getting out of that situation? You are getting absolutely nothing out of this situation. Like, you are like trying so hard to get this man off, and like you're getting him off. He's not getting you off. What are you getting out of this situation? Nothing. And I think I just like really took a step back, and I was like, damn, yeah, I actually, you know what? I really am getting nothing out of this situation. And I think when he was just basically like my second ever person that I've ever had like into like sex with. So I think I just like, you know, I was like, man, like I really thought that we were gonna date, like blah 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 blah. But I was like, you know what? Maybe everything happens for a reason. And I think there was the last conversation that we ever had, we basically like, I don't know, it was kind of, there's a little bit of tension, and it kind of ended in a little bit of a ghosting. But yeah, I think everything does happen for a reason, because he needed to go. He was occupying way too much space in my brain for bringing absolutely nothing to the table. And he was, you know what? He was also one of those guys. It's always these guys. He was also one of those guys that he was always like, oh, but what do you bring to the table? What do you bring to the table? And he was always those guys that, you know, he was always scared of like gold diggers. When he was like completely broke. It's always the guys that are completely broke that are so scared of gold diggers. I saw do you guys watch, what is her name? Liz the Wizard? Is that her name? She did this one video and she was like, it's always the broke men that are like, what do you bring to the table? Babes, you can't even afford a table. You're actually asking me, what am I bringing to the ground? What am I bringing to the ground? Girl, you need to be bringing in a table for me to bring anything to the table. It's always actual rich men that genuinely don't give a fuck. Like actual rich men and provider mentality men, they don't give a flying fuck what the fuck you bring to the table. They just want to provide for you because they're masculine. They have a provider mindset, and they aren't this like penny pincher 50-50. I paid for this. Is it okay if you pay me for this? Can you Venmo me this? Like transfer me this, blah, 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 blah. It's always the broke men that are the most scared of gold diggers. And I'm like, honey, girl, you do not, out of all people, I'm so sorry, you do not need to be worrying. This is the last thing that you need to be worrying about, because if a girl was a gold digger, trust me, she would not be trying to go for you, okay? Whew. But yeah, that was the story time about the time that I was kind of dating a porn addict. And I don't know, I think what advice would I give to myself back then, like if I was actually really dating someone that had a porn addiction? I think that's something that is really awkward to talk about, but it is definitely something that you need to communicate to your partner if you feel like it's affecting you, because it affected me in so many ways. It affected me because I didn't feel, you know, like I was turning him on. I didn't feel like I was doing enough in bed. And then I didn't feel sexy. I felt really insecure about my body. I felt insecure about the way that I looked, because I was like, oh my God, I don't look like, I have big boobs, big butt. I don't have this. I don't have that. Like, and he always made these super toxic comments of, oh my God, I think this girl is so hot. This girl is so sexy. Oh my God, blah, 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 blah. And that affected me. It even affected me to the point, he doesn't even know this. It affected me to the point where he said, oh, I love, who's the Fashion Nova girl? I found her. Okay. Her name is Don't kill me if I pronounce her name wrong, but it's Yodit Yamain, and her Instagram is the Jody Joe. I still follow her to this day. That's how much this man fucked up my head. But, she is pretty. We love slay girls, sporty girls. But he was so obsessed with this girl, Yodit Yamain, and she was like a Fashion Nova model, and she is thick with she's thick with like 10 C's. She's thick, but like, I love it. Slay queen girl. But I think I was just like comparing myself so much to her, and I would study her Instagram, and like, I even considered like getting all of the same procedures that she done, because girl, let's be real, she got a BBL. Did she? Like, ain't nobody's body built like that naturally. I don't know. It's gonna take me a long time to scroll all the way to the bottom. But I wanted all of the procedures that she had, because I was like, oh my God, he's so obsessed with her. Like, if I look like her, I'm going to please him, and I'm going to be the most dream girl, and I'm going to be perfect, and blah, 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 blah. I'm going to be happy when I can finally please him, and I finally am perfect, and I finally look like this girl. And I've done all the research on like BBLs. I've done like research on lipo, research on this, research on that. And it can be so toxic, like so toxic. I don't know. This has nothing to do. You know what? No, it actually has everything to do with this porn addiction. He also was just like a little boy, and I think that, I don't know, he just like said toxic comments and didn't think about it twice. But yeah, dating someone with a porn addiction fucks you up in so many ways. So what was I saying? It affected my confidence and the way that I have sex with people and the way that I feel about myself. It affected the way that I feel about my body and my body issues. Like, I wanted to get all of these procedures done to please him and to be enough for him and be this for him. And it honestly also affected my mental health, because I was just constantly thinking like, am I enough? Am I this? Am I that? Like, am I not this? Am I not that? Will I be perfect? When I'm perfect, will he like me? Will I this? Will I that? But at the end of the day, it was never a me problem. And I feel like us as women, we're always thinking, oh, it's me. I need to change this about me. I'm not hot enough. I'm not this enough. I'm not that enough, But at the end of the day, this isn't a you problem. This is a porn addiction problem. And it's not anything that you could do about it. You can have the biggest ass. You could have the biggest titties. You could have the smallest waist. You could have the biggest lips. You could have the biggest hair, biggest this, biggest that. And nothing will change. I think at the end of the day, I was really thinking about it, and I was like, okay, let's say I do everything. Let's say I get a BBL. I have the hugest butt. I get boob job. I have the biggest boobs. I get lips done. I have the biggest lips. I look crazy. And what if he's not even turned on by that? Because he's used to seeing threesomes, and he's used to seeing orgies, and he's used to seeing aggressive, crazy sex. At the end of the day, whatever you do will never be enough for people with porn addictions. And I don't know. I feel like we should really be treating porn addictions like real addictions, like alcoholism and, all these other addictions. It's like an actual real disease, and it affects them, and it affects your partner, and it affects the way that they treat women, and it affects, I don't know, even like if you were to even have children, like I would even be scared to have children with someone that has a porn addiction, because I don't think that they can look at women as a human being. Like they see women as like a sexual object, and this is like so scary to think about. But yeah, I don't know, it's a real addiction. And I feel like, especially for young kids, like I don't know what I'm gonna do when I have kids, and I want to protect them, and I don't want them to watch these types of videos. Like, what if they have like an iPad and then they're able to search it up, and like their friends are talking about it at school? Like, I don't know, like what the things that parents have to do to protect their children from these things and like addictions like this. I don't know. I think it's gnarly to think about. But yeah, I hope that he's okay. I hope hopefully he got over his porn addiction, because I don't know, it does affect your relationships with yourself and a lot of people. And I don't know, I just feel like things like this should not be as taboo and it should really be taken seriously. I also wanted to bring this up. I was like, okay, so what would I say if my partner had a porn addiction? I think I would just, obviously it would be awkward, but you know what someone told me is whenever you want to set a boundary or, say something to your partner just to, communicate something, they always say not to do it in the bedroom. So I would bring him off to the side in like the kitchen and be like, hey, I noticed that, no, I have a good one. I would do the compliment sandwich. So it's kind of like, hey, like I really love you and I think you're really sexy and blah, 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 blah. So start off with a compliment, and then here's the sandwich part where you kind of bring in, the problem that you need to fix is I just noticed that it's, you haven't been getting hard recently and like you haven't been coming recently. And I really want to work through it together of how we can have a better sex life, because to me, having a good sex life is really important to have with your partner. And it's something that I really want to work on and focus on, and something that maybe we can work with together. And I don't know if it's, you guys can come up, I feel like having them come up with the idea themselves, like not telling them that they have a porn addiction, but like asking them questions that kind of like lead them into realizing that they have a porn addiction. Like, this is so manipulative, but it's kind of like asking them questions like, oh, like, like how does it feel when like you're not able to get hard? Like, for me, I feel like, when you're not able to get hard, it just like makes me feel insecure. It makes me feel like I'm the problem, and it makes me feel like, I need to change things about myself, or I need to do more to, get you hard or get you horny. Like, is there anything that I can do, or is there anything that is happening that is maybe triggering this and like maybe not making you get as hard? And like kind of asking questions so they could kind of come to the realization themselves. And hopefully they do. I don't know. Hopefully they do, because it is something awkward and it's going to hurt their ego. But it is something that you definitely have to talk about, because to me, at least, sex is really important to me. Having a good, healthy sex life is really important to me in a relationship. And then kind of ending the conversation with, again, I think that you're so sexy. I love you so much. And I really want to work on this together and like see how we can have a better sex life together. And hopefully you guys come to the conclusion, that like they need to watch less porn. And like have some self-control, because watching porn 3 to 4 times a week is not normal. But yeah, that is this segment of the day. I'm sorry. Sometimes I feel like my episodes can get a little dark, but I don't know. I just love talking about real shit and like taboo shit and like awkward shit and like, I don't know. But let's continue on to the next segment, which is What Would Rihanna Do? My kind of like Q&A. If you guys want to ask me any questions, then make sure to follow me on Instagram. It's not Adeline. That's my spam account on Instagram. But someone asked, I'm thinking of getting a sex toy, but I'm afraid of the guilt that I might feel using it. Girl, I've been there and I've done that, and we really have to put in the work to untrain our brains into thinking that masturbation is bad, because if anything, masturbation is healthy for you. Masturbation not only helps you have a better sex life, it releases hormones and endorphins, and it makes you feel good. I even saw research that says that masturbation can help improve your sleep patterns if you do it right before bed, because it feels good, and then you like fall right to sleep. But there's actual real research that says that masturbation is really healthy for you. I mean, in moderation, we're talking, we just talked about porn addiction. But I don't even watch porn when I masturbate. I just like, figure out the things that, make you feel good, and, exploring with your body. Because what I found with masturbation is when you're able to figure out what feels good for you, because everybody's body is different. Nobody, like, I feel like some guys are like, oh, I'm so good at like getting girls off, like blah, 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 blah. But no girl's body is the same. Like, we all get off in different ways. And I feel like, sometimes people, like, I know, especially with the hookup culture, like people, think that they're having great sex. But I realized that in hookup culture, and then now like getting into a relationship, you realize how bad the sex was when you were in hookup culture. Like, I don't know, that was at least for me, but I'm getting a little bit off topic. But I grew up in basically like a very Christian household, and nobody really said it, but it was kind of implied that, you know, masturbating is bad and it's a sin, and, you know, you have to like go to church and like Jesus has to forgive you for your sins. Like, shit's fucked up. Like, it fucked up my childhood. And like, this is so embarrassing, but I'm gonna say it anyways. Like, when I was younger, like when I, you know, started hitting puberty and blah, 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 I would masturbate and I would feel so shameful afterwards. I was like, oh my God, I masturbate tomorrow. I'm going to have the worst luck. I'm going to not ace any of my tests because I did something so shameful. And like, I don't deserve anything good because I did something shameful and it was a sin. Like, that's how fucked up my head was. Like, I used to think that it was such a bad thing until I started unlearning all of those toxic religious things that they kind of like push on you. This is so ironic that this question is in this episode because we're talking about porn. No, you know what? I think that there is something to be said about, you know, moderation in everything. Like, you can't do everything too much. You can't, you know, there's moderation in everything. So I feel like masturbating like 1 or 2 times a week is like perfectly normal, and like, you don't have to if you want to, if you really want to. I feel like watching ethical porn is like completely, you know, fine, like 1 or 2 times a week, but watching these crazy, like over the top, like unrealistic videos can definitely mess up your mind. So what do I think about getting a sex toy and, you know, the guilt of that you might have using it? The thing that I did to stop feeling guilty about masturbating is I started educating myself more about sex. And I'm crazy. I have like sex books. I'll watch like sex documentaries on Netflix. I'll do this, I'll do that, and literally start unlearning the toxic things that maybe you've learned in church, maybe you learned in your childhood, maybe you learned whatever, and start relearning that masturbation is healthy and sex is healthy, and getting to know your body is great, and like knowing what gets you off is amazing, and you could tell your partner what makes you, you know, horny, and you could tell your partner this turns you on, and like tell your partner to do this, and then you're gonna have a better sex life. Like, there's no I ain't got no shame in my fucking game, girl. You know, I've like learned to unlearn the, you know, the toxic, like, you know, things that I've learned in my childhood, and like relearn that masturbation is healthy in moderation, and learning your body is amazing and healthy, and everybody does it. I don't know. Everybody does it, girl. Like, it feels good. It's healthy. It improves your sleep. It releases endorphins and dopamine. Yeah, girl, ain't got no shame in your game. Just learn more about it. I feel like the more that I learned about it, the more confident I became that it's okay to masturbate, and it is a-okay to, you know, use some toys and like figure out your body and like, you know, do whatever. Next question, it says, how do I get over him, or should I just keep pushing it? I don't want to be the annoying ex. So you know what I learned about men recently is men always want what they can't have. So if you want to have that satisfying feeling of he's going to want me back, the only way that you're going to be able to get that is by never taking him back till the day that you die. It doesn't matter if you have 5 years in between. It doesn't matter if you have 1 month in between. It doesn't matter anything. Men always want what they can't have. And I found that, at least with like my experience and like seeing my friends and like their experiences, when you take back a man, they will absolutely not change. And it's always so crazy because, you know, you see these people and they're like, oh, or you see these girls and they're like, you know, I've literally begged him to treat me right. I begged him to have a girlfriend. I begged him to post me on his Instagram. And lo and behold, the next, you know, month, he has a girlfriend. He's posting her on Instagram. He's treating her right. He's doing this. And I think it's just comes down to the fact that you've seen him at his absolutely lowest point, and he's just not gonna change for you. He might change for other people, but he's absolutely not gonna change for you. And you're the person that saw him at his lowest. You're the person that, you know, knows that he's pathetic. You're the person that, you know, nags him and like he has to do this. But with a brand new girl, he can start all over. She doesn't know all of his bad, you know, traits. She doesn't know that he sucks at this, or he doesn't get flowers, or that, you know, she never had to nag him. You did. And it's really sad, but the person that you feel like you have to nag to do the bare minimum, like get flowers, make you come, pay for dinner, you know, treat you right, be romantic, blah, 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 blah. You can nag all you want, but he's never going to change, especially if you guys broke up. Men always want what they can't have. And like, say that you guys break up and you're focusing on yourself. You look amazing. Your body looks great. You got a glow up, like blah, blah, blah. He comes crawling back to you. You take him back. What do you think is going to happen? He's going to fall back. Maybe he made a little bit of progress. Maybe he went to therapy. Maybe he did this. Maybe he did that. But he's just going to fall back into his normal habits because he's just comfortable. And like, that's just the relationship that you guys have. I don't know. This is really sad. This is not really good advice. But, you know, if you're in the position where, you know, you're not married and you don't have kids, why the fuck would you take back a loser ass man? If you're single and in your 20s and you're in that really awesome position where you can move on, like, fuck yeah, do that. Like, you deserve the absolute world. And I always tell my girlfriends this is why I literally never like my girlfriends' boyfriends, because I'm like, you deserve the absolute world. You're perfect. You're gorgeous. You're beautiful. Like, you have great tits, great ass. You have a great personality. You make people laugh. You're funny. Like, you have so many amazing qualities about yourself. What does he have? You know what actually really changed the way that I think about, you know, dating people is I used to be like, oh my God, does he like me? Am I doing enough? Like, I don't know. Does he like me? And I would like talk to my friends and be like, oh my God, I don't know if he likes me or not. Stop thinking that. Start thinking, do I like him? Does he bring X and X to the table? Like, does he check off my like list? Like, am I being picky enough? Like, is he good? And like, stop thinking like, does he like me? Start thinking, do I even like him? Like, girl, we gotta be pickier. We gotta be pickier in 2023, because I feel like the moment, because I don't know, I like used to accept so much less from men, and then the moment that I start being like, do I even like him? That's the moment that I started attracting more, I guess, high quality partners and high quality people in my life. I don't know. Okay, and then the last question. I love this one. Someone said, this is just a whole masturbation episode. We're really getting to know each other in this episode. Someone said, girl, what are some vibrators that you highly recommend? So I've literally said this in so many girl talks before, but my absolute favorite toy is the womanizer, and I know it's really expensive. There's dupes of it. There's other ones that are basically do the same. It's just basically an air suction tool, and it looks basically like there's a little, it's basically the size of your phone essentially, and then there's a little circle that you would put on your clit, and it has air suction technology that basically like blows air, and it is literally heaven on earth. It is the best sensation ever, girl. I love it. And if you don't have one, girl, you need one. That one is my personal favorite, and there's not a lot of cleanup after. Because I feel like, you know, when you use things that you insert inside of you, those things like, you know, you have to pee after, or else you might get a UTI, because you could get a UTI from your toys. You know, you don't have to use lube and, you know, put a towel down, XYZ. So that one is my absolute favorite. It's called the womanizer. And there's other dupes of it that are cheaper, but I don't know, something about the womanizer, like, the name brand, like that one just like hits different. It's so good. I think Lalo has one too that's also really good. But Womanizer is my absolute favorite. It comes in all different colors. I have my pink one. It's so cute. And it's the best gift. If you want to get your girlfriend's gift, boyfriends, if you want to get your girlfriend's gift, this is so good. And it's really fun because you can use it by yourself and you can also use it while having intercourse with your partner, with girls, with guys, with everyone. Like, I love when we pull out the toys. And I just Googled this because I know that there's like a huge percentage of women that, can only come through their clit, because I feel like a lot of people, they're like, I can't come with my partner. I can't do this. I can't, they feel so weird because they can't come with their partner. But that's so normal. I just found top orgasm statistics. 81.6% of women don't orgasm from intercourse alone. They need to have that additional clit stimulation. Which that is a huge percentage. 81%. You're telling me only 20% of women can come through, just like intercourse and hitting their G-spot. It's like this huge, and what's also crazy is that the clit on a woman's body has no purpose other than pleasure. Think about that. That's so gnarly to me to think about. Like, there's no other purpose of that body part. Like, God really gave you that body part to like really feel good. Like, I don't know. That's kind of cool. So I don't know, if you haven't already, invest in a good womanizer or some sort of like air suction tool, because those are my absolute favorite, and it's so versatile. You can use it by yourself, you can use it with a partner, and that's just like my favorite, especially for beginners, because they have different levels. You can start on level 1 and it's very soft, or you can like really turn that shit up and put it up to number 10 and like, ooh, that shit is crazy. But yeah, I think I'm going to end the episode now, but I hope that you guys enjoyed this really awkward episode. But we're real. We're really real. And I honestly really wanted to talk about this shit because I saw Billie Eilish talk about it and I was like, I love that she talked about that. I love that she talks about how watching porn at 11 really fucked up with her brain, and you really have to unlearn all of the weird, crazy shit from like your religion, from the way that you think about masturbation, from the crazy shit that's put out in porn, the crazy shit that they push out on porn, and like, finally coming to a healthy place where I feel good about my own masturbation life and I feel good about my sex life. And it's because I really did the work and I really, learned about what's healthy versus what's not, what makes me feel good versus what's not, what makes, my partner feel good versus what's not. So yeah, I hope that this helps you guys. I know it's kind of awkward to talk about. I don't give a fuck. I think I love this episode. But I love you guys. I'll be here. I'm always here. Same place, same time, every Wednesday. But I love you. I'll see you guys in my next episode on Girl Talk. Make sure to rate. It helps me a lot. If you're listening on Apple Music, on Spotify, if you're listening on YouTube, give it a good old like and subscribe. But I love you guys, and I'll talk to you next week. Bye. You like that episode? I really hope that you did. If you haven't already, then make sure to watch last week's episode or the week after. Just click on the links, whatever it is. And I hope that you guys enjoyed. Also, be sure to subscribe because it helps me a lot. But I love you, and I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. Bye.
Feel it rush, sipping on Hawaiian punch. Squeeze the sides, feel it rush, sipping on Hawaiian punch. Know you like all this gush? Oh no, you can't get enough. Sipping on Hawaiian.